Welcome back. It's been a while. I know, you were scheduled to be on, and, people were worried, why is he rescheduled? I said, usually it's a good sign when somebody's rescheduling and they don't tell us like anything, there's no bad reason. And obviously it's worked out. So Steve, first of all, I want to congratulate you. You are officially, as of yesterday, you became an official member of the 10 Baggers Club, the 10X. 10X, the stock it went from a nickel to 50 cents yesterday was the high, or I think 52. Today, I think we hit 82 cents Canadian, 82 cents Canadian. But Steve, this is, 10X is the beginning. You're not officially a super stock. You're still a next. It's potentially a super stock is when you become 100X. So we need you.
We're a work in progress. We're a work in progress. We're improving every day. That's the one commitment I can make to everybody who's following is myself and the team are working hard. We're working smart. We're working long hours. But we're building a great business that I'm really proud of. And we're getting a lot of support from followers, from shareholders. I see the messages every day coming in, and I'm so grateful for the support that we receive. And we are absolutely going to keep this going. We're not even close to where we need to go.
I agree. What did we have on the board here? This is, you see this message, right?
I see the message. If you pop them up, I can see the messages. Yeah.
So this is our new motto: 100 baggers, not 10X anymore. 100 baggers only. We're looking for the big winner. So let's dive into the big news. Look, the big news that's driving the stock is you had the news yesterday with Rexel, and then today you got the COVID back-to-back. Amazing stuff. So first of all, let's talk about the Rexel Partnership. So we have a lot of Americans in the audience. So who's Rexel? What is this deal?
Well, Rexel is a pharmacy group. They're the second largest pharmacy group in Canada. They are really a household name for Canadians. They're in all our neighborhoods around the country, and they represent really millions of Canadians locally around your own postcode, around your neighborhood, and they are at the point of delivering care. They're at the point of delivering pharmacy services. And we are so grateful to start, a new relationship with a partner like that. And we anticipate, working very closely with them side by side as we kind of phase into rolling this out and building out healthcare centers.
Okay. Now, so for the American audience, so Rexel is like what? They're like a Walgreens, a CVS.
Well, if you think of all the pharmacy groups around, yeah. So in the U.S., I guess a comparable household name might be CVS or would be Walgreens as an example. So in Canada, we have a few pharmacy groups, and again, Rexel just happens to be one of the strongest brands out there.
Okay, so this is a big deal. How many locations do they have in Canada?
I believe Rexel have about 470 plus locations across the country. Certainly, Canada is a very large, diverse country, and there will be markets that they have more concentration than others. But it's certainly an extensive brand with an extensive reach for sure.
Okay, and so exactly what is the partnership? You're going to be putting in your clinics inside of Rexel pharmacies, yeah?
So we're starting, kind of a phased approach. Like any relationship or partnership, you typically kind of do pilots. You kind of roll out, kind of piece by piece. So we're targeting to open up healthcare centers either inside a Rexel pharmacy, perhaps on top of the pharmacy because that's the way the real estate is set up, or perhaps adjacent to the pharmacy. And we're targeting to start in the Ontario marketplace first. That's really what we've discussed with them going forward, and we have a kind of a process with them that is putting together a letter of intent, a binding letter of intent for a particular location, that's followed by a lease agreement, and we move forward from there. So every location's different. So we have to identify with them, what's the appropriate square footage that could be available? What would the lease terms look like? The square footage that's available is going to dictate how many medical doctors and how many practitioners we can bring to the location, which ultimately, you know, kind of determines the scale of that location, how many patients we can serve, ultimately what the revenue model might look like for us is really a function of all of those factors.
Okay, so now these clinics, are they, what's going to be the branding? Are they called Empower or Rexel? What's going to be their branding? How are they going to be branded?
Well, it will be, you know, the branding is our brand. So, you know, we are obviously Empower Clinics at this stage. We are, you know, contemplating a new brand for our clinics in Canada. No final decision has been made on that, but we certainly are looking at how we're going to brand our clinic network or our healthcare network going forward, and then how that sort of rolls out to the public company world for us as well.
Okay, so really, I mean, so this is you know, legitimately a game changer, you know, really a transformative deal for the company. I mean, this takes the company to a whole new level.
I mean, it does. I mean, we have been working very hard on our expansion capabilities, whether that's in the U.S. I've said before, I definitely wanted to come into the Canadian market. We identified the opportunity to do that, and you know, this is leading us to these types of partnerships that we can you know, put in place for the Canadian market. Our goal is to be a diverse, integrated healthcare company, and we've wanted to be able to find our path to move into primary care and paramedical services together. We want to serve millions of Canadians with our healthcare services, whether that's in clinic, whether it's virtual through telemedicine or teleconference, or even the delivery of mobile care. But you know, the healthcare systems we're finding through the pandemic that we're all living with is really changing, and the way that we deliver care has to change also. And we think that you know, working together with, you know, big brands in a form of a partnership is a great way to get to market and to get to, you know, get to millions of patients over time.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing. I mean, it's again, it's a game changer. I don't know I mean, to get a deal like that, I don't know, like you. I mean, I know this is a big company. I mean, this is like a serious operation. I'm sure they're very, you know, they're very selective in who they do these type of partnerships with. So whatever you did, you must have, you know, impressed them. What I want to ask you. What kind of revenues can you generate per location? Do you have an idea, like is it like a per square foot? I guess there's a model, right, based on population size or whatever it is.
Well, there are a number of factors that take place. The one thing about the healthcare system in Canada, particularly on the primary care side with medical doctors, you know, there is really a sort of a weighted average formula per physician that we understand. And so to the extent that we know what our square footage availability will be, or leads to how many practitioners we can have in a particular space. So as an example, you know, we're looking at space size ranges sort of between 1,500 square feet to maybe as much as 4,000 square feet. Now, obviously, a 1,500 square foot is going to be on the smaller side. When we put in medical doctors and medical doctors and paramedical care services, these practitioners, we can't have as many. But we anticipate really looking at the range of 4 to 6 medical doctors per location and 4 to 6 paramedical practitioners. We understand the paramedical model. We know that, you know, on the smaller side, our clinics are going to generate somewhere around $75,000 to $80,000 per month, maybe going up to $120,000 per month on the paramedical services. And then you annualize that. We know that medical doctors, generally speaking, are going to be generating, you know, sort of $400,000 to $500,000 per physician on an annualized basis. So if we start to have that range of 4 to 6 physicians in a location, 4 to 6 practitioners, we start to figure out a range of a financial model that's quite predictable for us. And you know, to the extent that we can start to reach the milestones that we're looking for, you know, getting to 10 locations, 20 locations, 30 locations, over time, as we build these out and operate them, we'll have a long-term stable, growing financial model on the healthcare services side, which has nothing to do with the R&D and the lab work that we're doing. But I'm just talking about the healthcare services, the clinic businesses itself.
This is just one part. This is really just one part of the business here. Okay, so if anybody's doing the math, I don't know if anybody's got their pad and pen, whatever, out. So roughly 2 to 3 million per location is what I'm hearing, is what you can generate in revenues. 2 to 3 million per location. And how many locations are you anticipating in the next 18 months that you could launch, do you think?
Well, it really just depends on, what we can do with our various partnerships, whether it's with great partners like Rexel and serving their markets and their customers, or it might be further acquisitions in certain markets that we may look at, or it may be just again other locations that we will open up on our own. But I think we tend to lean towards working in partnership, the way that we're starting now, as the most effective way to move forward. And to the extent that we do identify another acquisition of clinic groups that makes sense, then we'll absolutely look at that. And that is not limited to, say, a Canadian market. When I'm talking about growth, it's really right now for us, it's a North American market. The U.S. market is very important for us, and we're certainly in dialogue, excuse me, with a number of opportunities down there as well.
Okay, so Rexel has 400 locations in Canada. I'm assuming, do they have deals with any other clinics, or this is the first time? Like how many? Like how does that work? Is this going to be?
Yeah, I mean, we're at the very beginning of this new relationship with them. We're looking at starting in the province of Ontario. Okay. It's obviously the largest market in Canada. We've got identified locations that seem to be really appropriate for us to start with, get into an LOI, do a lease agreement, and then start the build out. So, we're in that phase right now of identifying what would be the primary starting locations. But I would expect that, we'll certainly be able to come back on here in the very near future to talk about, what that next phase of rollout looks like, and commence the work, so that by time we get deeper into the first quarter, we would anticipate that we're now building out locations, we're doing the tenants improvements, we're establishing a launch date for the location, and one of the things that really is our strength in all of this is the ability to recruit physicians. It's critical in whatever the model is. Having real estate or access to real estate is one thing, but you still have to be able to recruit medical doctors, recruit paramedical practitioners, and then manage that, or manage them going forward, so that we can bring the best delivery of healthcare to patients in whatever community we might be starting in.
Okay. But okay, so I'm assuming, look, this is an organization that's they got 400 locations. I think the parent company is a significant company. Excuse me. So I'm assuming that if it works out for the first for this Ontario thing, they're gonna put you in 100 plus locations, because it's a great. I mean, the synergies are undeniable. I mean, this is like I don't know, peanut butter and jelly, whatever the metaphor is. But I mean, the synergies are undeniable. People need access to healthcare, a pharmacy. It's a no-brainer. So let's say, it's possible. I'm throwing something out there. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but realistically, it's possible that you could be in, let's call it 25 locations in 18 to 24 months. 25 locations is not a lot, really.
I guess maybe it's not a lot in terms of the market share for large groups, like this, but certainly that's a lot of clinics. It would be producing obviously significant, top line growth and EBITDA for our public company. I don't know where that's going to go. Again, as I was saying, with every new kind of partnership, you tend to start to roll out as a pilot program. We have to always continue to prove ourselves to whoever we work with, and the message,
obviously you have to deliver. Obviously, that you're going to have to deliver. Execution is key, and I know your background is in execution. That's kind of your
it completely is. I mean, execution is critical. We have to make ourselves as strong as we can possibly be. The stronger our company is, the stronger we will be for our partners, right? We have a great capital runway right now. Our balance sheet is strong. It's getting stronger every day. But as we continue to grow and gain strength, we can continue to be an even better partner. And the execution piece is critical for me, as you know. It's operational sort of perfection is important to me. Applying my Six Sigma training and methodologies to our operations is going to be mission critical for us as we join our partners, whoever they may be, and make sure that we're together with them and successful with them for years to come. And so that's kind of our game plan right now. And I think we'll revisit what our scale looks like going forward. It's early days, but we're certainly confident and we're optimistic. But we do know the one thing. The one thing is that we do know how to build out healthcare centers, recruit physicians, and manage physicians, and deliver great healthcare to patients.
Okay, I think though the takeaway here is that you already have right now. There's kind of there's a runway to 100 million revenues, because I'm looking that look, if these guys have 400 locations, if you do your job, get a thing. I'm sure they're going to love to have you in at least 10% of their locations, 40 locations in the next year, 2 years, whatever it is. 40 times 2.5 million, 3 million per locations, 2 to 3 million, whatever the number is. So it's 100 million revenue. So potentially that part of your business could be worth, in today's market, that's $1 billion. 10x, that's kind of the valuations. That's the comps. So that's, I think that's as an investor, that would be the takeaway. Okay, there's a kind of a path. There's a path to get there, because the road is paved.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's certainly we have a plan in place. We're working to execute on that plan, of course, and we're really focusing our efforts to be a diverse, integrated healthcare company. We have a number of facets to our business, but working with patients and managing physicians is a crucial key part of what we do. It's part of our identity and our framework. Certainly moving into the laboratory space, the R&D behind that, serving the huge demand right now related to COVID-19 testing. I'm
going to get into the COVID. I want to get into this COVID. Yeah, we're going to get into the COVID stuff in just because that's the other big part of the story. But I think this right now, this Rexel deal is such a game changer for the whole story of this. It's an incredible thing. Now, I think what's also interesting is I actually made a note here, because you used the quote. I don't think I've heard you say this before, but your goal is to build a diversified, integrated healthcare company. I haven't heard that. I don't think I've heard that exact phrasing before, but that sounds like a significant operation.
It does. I think again we've really found our stride. I think we're meeting the market where the market wants us to be. We're in such an important time in our lives and in society, and to the extent that we can position our company and our focus to be a very strong player in integrated healthcare and the delivery of care, whatever that might look like, we believe is exactly how we should be investing our shareholders' funds. It's a kind of a combination of it's altruistic. We want to serve patients. We want to do right by society, but we are obviously running a business. We have shareholders. We need to bring return on investment to our shareholders. And so we're always careful, we're always responsible with the funds that we have control of. But you are right. We really have a vision of being a large, important, healthcare company for the future. And we're currently on the CSE. I think we have the ability to potentially, uplist to a bigger market in the future, I think we'll be deserving of it, and I think we'll be deserving of it, in the not too distant future.
Okay, let's. I'm going to go to the COVID thing right now. I want to jump into a couple of questions, maybe. Okay, so first we have a super chat. So Steve, we just made $50 here. Michael Mahendra is actually a big investor in CBDT from early on. CBDT, my first 10 bagger. Michael, now let's find out if it's going to be the 100 bagger, because if you get the 100 clinics, if you get 40 clinics, 100 million revenues, it's a billion valuation. How many shares out right now do you have? You got the warrant fully approximately. What's the number of shares out?
Well, if you go fully diluted, including warrants, I believe we sit about 330 million. So the float right now is about 290. And then, we've been obviously converting warrants of late. And that, has slowed down. Sort of the remaining holders of warrants tend to be our close, insiders. As an example, I have warrants, myself, but, I don't need to convert them. I don't want to convert them at this time. It's not necessary. And so we're seeing the rate of conversion slow down. We had a big rush of that in December and early January, and we're grateful for it. It's made our cash position very strong. But our operations are also performing exceptionally well right now. So we're generating cash in operations along with the cash that came in through the warrant conversion. So we're grateful to be in a position of having a very strong and comfortable balance sheet right now.
Okay, so basically, right now, the company, is roughly market cap is 100 million plus cap. You got revenues. Do you want to talk about like what you expect to generate in 21? Is that because you want to talk about that, or is that you don't want to make projections?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a really interesting time with this concept of forecasting. We're working very closely with our accounting group and our auditors on our budgets for 2021, but things are changing so rapidly for us. If you talk to me, in the fourth quarter about maybe what we look like in 2021, it's accelerated so much. Where we sit today, early in the first quarter, we are seeing tremendous performance and success from Kai Medical. They have integrated and have grown at a faster rate than we even anticipated going into the acquisition. We're seeing great demand in all markets, whether it's US, it's Canada. We're having conversations about the Caribbean, about Mexico, and we just don't see the demand on the testing side slowing down at all. And obviously we'll talk a little bit about today's announcement with our medical.
Yeah, let's jump into that. Let's jump to, and then we'll go to more, because we've got a bunch of audience questions about the COVID testing, clinics, all that stuff. I hope we're gonna have time. We're gonna have you probably next week, because I want to break this out of the multiple. Okay, so you're gonna. So let's talk about today's announcement. Bring us up to date. What's happening with COVID?
Yeah. So we've previously announced that we developed, one of the investments that we made early with Kai Medical was giving them R&D dollars to get our own versions of COVID tests to market. One of the things that we discovered through due diligence with the Kai acquisition was how much capability they had on the R&D side. But it took capital. We had to give them the capital, give them the resources, invest in their scientists. The result is we developed and put to market our Kai saliva test. So this is still a PCR test, which is the gold standard, has to be processed by a lab, but it's a much more effective, less intrusive way to collect the specimen because it's saliva based. You don't have to use the nasopharyngeal swab to do that. So we wanted to make sure that we're bringing those products to Canada as well as we were developing our Canadian footprint. And but to do that correctly, you have to have a medical device license called an MDEL, MDEL, the Medical Device Establishment License, that allows you to import, distribute, and sell under Health Canada guidelines. So we had to figure out a way to do that. So we put our application in for our own direct MDEL. Health Canada is fairly backed up, to be polite. and things, don't get, kind of through the system as quick as we all would like. So we decided, rather than wait and have sort of lost opportunity cost, we wanted to find a partner with an existing MDL license that we could work with, we could piggyback with. And that's what we've done, and that's what we announced today. So, our friends at MediPro Canada are doing a lot of great things. They open up a lot of doors. They've already been involved in working with PPE, working with other products related to the pandemic. But their strength is absolutely about networking and opening doors, whether it's public sector, private sector. And, in spending time with that group, it became evident that they would be a great partner for us to work with, so that we can now start shipping our Kai Medical saliva kits into Canada to make them available for Canadians, however we might distribute them, whether it's direct to consumer, in partnership with, with other groups. But we expect that our first shipments are going to start coming in this week, by the end of the week. And we'll start to get samples out to various groups to make sure that they can understand, what our saliva kit does, how it works, how it performs. And obviously, it's great for sales revenue. It's all processed by our lab. And we think it's going to be, a very good product for Canadians, and will help with this travel dilemma that we all have right now.
So, question coming in, Spencer's asking, how much does your COVID test kit cost?
Yeah, so from a retail standpoint, sort of direct to consumer, we're pricing it in and around about $150 US. And an important piece of that to understand is that includes shipping. And on a direct consumer basis, we have actually two shipments. There's an outbound shipment, but inside the test kit, after you collect your specimen and seal it, do your registration paperwork, we include a return courier envelope that's self-addressed to come back to our lab. So we have that second shipping cost that's included in that overall cost of the consumer.
Okay. I guess ask back up. We've got a lot of I think this is going to be available at Rexel.
We don't. There's nothing firm on that yet. We certainly look forward to the opportunity to start those discussions. No discussions with anybody could be had until we have our medical device license in place. And we're just fortunate to figure out a way to accelerate that. It was concerning me a little bit that it was going to take too long. There's too much need right now. The health system is under burden in Canada. Canadians need this product. And so, it was really incumbent upon me and our team to find a way to get through some of the challenges of the rules. But we think that this is a really great way to move forward and accelerate. And because I was concerned about, lost opportunity costs as well. The longer we would have a delay, for whatever the reason the delays were, that is lost opportunity to distribute and sell our test kits to a very strong market, which is Canada.
Okay. Let's go. Okay, so we've got questions about where will these kits be sold? We've got multiple questions. Are you partnerships with let's see, airlines? What's going on with airlines? That's a big topic of discussion.
Yeah. So as I've said previously, we're in conversation with airlines. We've had conversations with WestJet, conversations with Air Canada. We're talking to public sector. We're talking to private sector. We're talking to cruise lines. Every sector of the economy needs support. They need, in our opinion, they need PCR tests. We think the saliva version is a great way to go, particularly if you're having to provide multiple specimens weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. The swabs, the nasal swabs, can be fairly intrusive, and there can be a lot of discomfort with those. We absolutely feel that rapid antigen testing is very important. We're seeing really exceptional demand in the U.S. For our products, and our version of the rapid antigen test is currently submitted to Health Canada for approval, still pending approval. So I have no updates there on that, but we certainly see in the markets around the world the need for rapid antigen testing along with high quality PCR testing.
Okay, let's see here. Let me just catch the question. Let me jump back to a clinic question, and then we'll go back. Question about is the deal with Rexel on top of the 30 clinics that Dr. Rabinowitz is targeting to open? He said,
so our team, our Canadian team of physicians led by Dr. Jordan and Dr. Aviv. I mean, we established long-term targets with them, and how we meet those targets will all be discovered over time. I think we have a very good plan in place together, and we're beginning to execute on that plan as everybody's seeing right now. So we're optimistic that over whatever period of time, over the next 12, 24 months, 36 months, that these guys are going to be able to deliver on those objectives. I feel they'll be able to exceed those over time, but it's why we have milestones. It's why we have incentives with our very important team members to motivate, to really make sure that people are connected to exactly the objectives of our public company going forward. So I think we'll have some nice updates for everybody as we roll through the quarters and we continue to execute on our milestones.
Okay, Spence is asking, does your test kit detect the COVID variant? This is going to be the big issue. There's all these variants popping up now. This is it absolutely is going to be a big topic going forward. So at this stage, we don't have any evidence to the contrary. I don't have any news or messages from our scientists at the lab that the form of PCR tests that we utilize, and also the lab processes, the immunoassays that our lab developed for testing, and the test equipment that we have is not able to detect. Keep in mind an example. One of the test protocols that we have is the ability, we refer to it as the Chi ABC. So we're able to, if a patient or a consumer chooses, they can choose to simply have us process the specimen to discover COVID-19 only, or we can process it to discover COVID-19, influenza A, or influenza B. And as an example right now, in the lab with groups that are opting for the Chi ABC version, we are seeing a number of results come back that indicate influenza A, influenza B, but no COVID. And that's really just flu season, upon us. And but that is, we think it's important to understand that, because there is a lot of concern out there in society. If you have flu-like symptoms, we kind of tend to default to, well, it must be COVID-19, but it may not be. Having the ability through our lab and through our scientists to detect and report back to the consumer and patient that in fact, no, you don't have COVID, you simply have the common flu. So we think that's going to be important. But the variant, will be a very important topic, and I think there's more to come on that. There's more discovery that we have to kind of work through as well from a scientific basis. So we'll probably talk about that further at later interviews. Okay, Steve, it's very interesting that the last time I think you were on our live stream about a month ago, all the big questions were, why did the stock stop going up? It was, I think, 35 cents, and people were like panicking. Oh my God, it's supposed to be going up every day, and then today, it's double, almost not quite triple, but more than double, and it's amazing. So I'm surprised we don't have questions about the stock today. So all right, so we got a question here, a $5 super chat. Canuck 747. If you are traveling to Europe, how will the timing of the test work getting getting test to USA lab and also getting results to be compliant?
Yeah, so this
logistics. How will the logistics
yeah,
work?
logistics are important. We think about this a lot. So, the executive orders related to travel are indicating that you must have a negative COVID test 72 hours prior to boarding your flight. What we like about our Kai saliva test is, if I was a traveler, you can take that test with you in your suitcase as you travel. The key is to remind yourself that once the 72-hour window starts, you need to provide the specimen and get it into the courier bag and overnight it to our lab. We process specimens every day. Our turnaround time is really 24 hours from the point in time that we receive it. So unfortunately, it's a tight window, but it's doable as long as the consumer, the traveler, is reminding themselves when that 72-hour window starts. How the test results are delivered is that our scientists process the specimen, you get the result, that is distributed through our lab information system and is sent back to the consumer by secure email link or secure text message, or both. And I can tell you myself, I've been tested a number of times using our lab, and getting the result back is actually very effective. It's very simple. You can show it on your device of choice. You can print it. That was the way that I preferred to do it. And it then meets the guidelines. And there are specific guidelines, and it must be a high complexity CLIA certified laboratory, and it must be displayed correctly on the document that is produced, and it must include your name and information and the date and time of the processing. So we have all the features in terms of being an authorized lab to meet the guidelines. The key for travelers is to make sure that you start the process 72 hours beforehand, because it's a very tight window, unfortunately, but it's doable for sure.
Okay, Steve, we're going to wrap up. A couple more questions. Okay, so Curtis is asking, with only 4 airports in Canada for international flight, have you set up labs in those cities to make the logistics quicker?
Right. So currently the answer is no, we have not. So we are actively looking for lab acquisitions in Canada. We think that would be a very accretive step for us, and really getting our products to Canada. I mean, up until today, we didn't have our medical device license. So, we're not permitted to even send our samples in and import them. It would be a violation of Health Canada guidelines. We've crossed that hurdle now. So we are in a much better position to start to figure out how we bring our testing capabilities to the Canadian market. What do we do on the lab side? Are we partnering with someone? Are we acquiring labs ourselves? We have our own laboratory to utilize today. So we certainly have the ability to process specimens for Canadians. That is not an issue. There are many labs in Canada, medical groups in Canada, who are sending specimens to labs in the US because there's a backlog, with the Canadian lab sort of network. So we certainly feel like we can help with that because we've got capacity, and we're looking forward to getting our products into the country and into the hands of Canadians, potentially to help with the travel situation.
Okay, I want to ask you about so the U.S. market right now in terms of for the stock. I mean, right now, I think so far the stock has gotten to 80 cents, mostly on Canadian buyers. I don't think we have that many Americans in the stock yet. What's going on with? I think you need to be really DTC eligible to open up the stock to for more U.S. buyers. What's the kind of the status on getting that going?
Yeah, we've had a very important filing that we had to make, which is called the 20F document. It's a form of a year-end filing. It's a very kind of significant document that we file on EDGAR for the SEC. We file it to the OTC. So we've made that filing. The next thing that we've done is that we've filed for our DTC eligibility. So that work is happening right now. There's a specific procedure process that we have to go through. There's legal reviews that have to be done to get the DTC eligibility. But that has started. So I would anticipate, certainly over the next couple of weeks, but I'd say, before the end of this month, that we'll be able to come back and let everybody know that our DTC eligibility has been completed. And for all of the US followers that are down there, that's actually going to really open up the trading capability, because your brokerage firms will be able to electronically clear our trades. And that's proven to be important to drive liquidity. Obviously the US market is 10 times larger than the Canadian market. And so that's just another phase for us. It's an important step, but like everything, we have to follow guidelines. We have to have the support of our accounting group, our auditors, our legal team to get this stuff done. But we're getting through it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the next, the next one of the catalysts for the stock. I'm speaking purely from the stock, not the stock. Is one of the catalysts is once you get the DTC eligibility, once you can really get open up the stock to US buyers. I think that'll be important. But I think the big takeaway for today really is I think this Rexel partnership, which really opens up like a pathway, runway to $1 billion market cap. If you get 10% of their 10% of their locations, 40 stores, 2.5 million each, plus your other business, it's it's 100 million plus revenues.
Yeah, well, I think we're setting the stage for a lot of significant growth. I mean, this is what we've been working toward, and trying to lay this foundation to become this integrated healthcare company that we believe that we can be. And so the pieces are coming together. I'm grateful for everybody's support, for sure. It's important for me to thank everyone. I get a lot of messages from our followers. I attempt to get back to them as try to get back to all of them, but I literally get hundreds of emails every day. So we're doing our best. So thank you for being patient, everybody, if I don't quite get back to you fast enough, or someone from my communications team. But stay with us. We've got a great path forward, we believe. And our motto is always about execution, and we will continue to do that. You've got my commitment that I will continue to work hard and execute on behalf of our shareholders. And I'm looking forward to sharing where things are going this quarter and into the balance of 2021 and beyond. I think we've got a nice path ahead.
Fantastic, Steve. On that note, I want to thank you. We're going to catch up with you soon, because we have a lot of questions we didn't get a chance to answer. We're going to answer them on the next live stream. Steve, thank you again, and
yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate the time and the support.
Okay, thank you, and everybody in the audience. Obviously we've seen a lot of people thank you, so they all thank you. We'll see you again soon, Steve. Thank you again.